Lights out, away we go. And it looks like we've got a reasonable launch of the line as we head up towards the first corner. Hamilton's on the outside, and he's able to hold it around the outside, and he is up second. Now we're going to have this pace, so I accidentally did Q2 on the prime, I don't realise. And we're going to try it down the inside, and we have made that move stick. But a 5-second time, I'm not sure what that was for, because we took it exactly the same pit entry for our first stop. But Grosjean, what is he doing? He's just completely forced it into the wall. Surely it's going to cost us fourth, but Vettel has hit Grosjean, and he's out of the race. But still, it might be fair. But Bottas and Raikkonen have been held up as well, and something that we thought would cost us has actually benefited us. Onto pit straight, and we finish in third place. What's up, guys? It is Matty Gaming HD here, back here with the 14th instalment of the Checo Charge to Glory series, where after a podium in Singapore, Checo is keen to keep up that momentum going into the Japanese Grand Prix. So without further ado, let's go in to the qualifying reports. The championship fight was hotting up, so all the interest was high as qualifying for the Japanese Grand Prix was about to get underway. It was little surprise to see the two Manamarushas of Will Stevens and Roberto Meri look out the back row. Max Verstappen's qualifying dramas returned as he found himself knocked out of Q1. It was an average qualifying session for McLaren, or average with this year, as Button qualified in 14th with Alonso 17th. Romain Grosjean didn't set a time in Q2, so will start 15th, whilst Pastor Maldonado failed to make it past Q1. Marcus Ericsson was a star of qualifying as he was able to get himself into Q3. Sergio Perez once again pulled off an astounding performance to get his Force India into third on the grid. The two Red Bulls of Danny Kvyat and Daniel Ricciardo lined up in 8th and 9th respectively. They lined up just behind the two Williams, who lined up in 6th and 7th. Sebastian Vettel qualified in 2nd for Ferrari, less than half a tenth off pole, whilst Kimi Raikkonen qualified in 4th. Lewis Hamilton was disappointed to qualify in 5th, whilst Nico Rosberg found himself on pole position. So taking a look at the grid, as usual it's the Manamarushas at the back of the grid. Carlos Sainz outqualified his teammate Max Verstappen to qualify in 12th, whilst Hulkenberg couldn't make Q3. Ericsson rounds out the top 10 behind Ricciardo and Kvyat, Bottas and Massa. Lewis Hamilton was disappointed with 5th, with Raikkonen 4th, Perez in 3rd, behind Vettel, whilst it's Rosberg on pole. Well, here we are, sitting on the grid here at Suzuka, ready for round 14 of 19. Here we have the lights in Suzuka. It's lights out and away we go, and it looks like we get a reasonable launch of the line, but the Ferrari of Vettel goes to the outside to try to cover us off. He runs a little bit wide. We're going to try to stick our nose up the inside, but he gets the better exit and he stays ahead of us as we head into the S's for the first time. Going to see if we can get a good exit out of any of the corners, but not quite able to make the move on Vettel yet. You can see we're a little bit wide there going into Dunlop onto the curve. Heading up towards the Degners for the first time. So we're at the moment in 3rd. No, not very eventful first few corners. But now, anyway, here we are. We're now heading up towards the first corner now. At the end of the first lap this is. As you can see, Lewis Hamilton has got a good run of it on us. Heading into the first corner. But he's understeered and we both run wide. And that is going to allow Kimi Raikkonen through into 3rd place. He just... it wasn't a dive bomb, but he then did run wide going into turn 1. And we lost out by that. Anyway, as you can see, we're heading into the chicane now at the end of lap 6. Not very much else happened in the first stint. We take out the bollard, doing exactly what Carlos Sainz did in the real F1, but only this time in the damaged model doesn't make a bollard damage your car. So, onto a new set of options. You can see on the right, the state times they were almost red. I think one more lap and then they would have exploded, literally. As you can see, we're exiting the pits. Right behind Pastor Maldonado and Felipe Nasser. We get the exit out of the first corner. Going to try it around the inside of Maldonado, going into the first S. Not sure that was going to work. But now going into the second S's. And we are going to try it down the inside. And we have made that move stick. Of course, Maldonado is on fairly worn tyres. As we now head into the Degner. I'm going to try it down the inside of the first Degner. Not quite able to do that. But now we get down the inside in the second Degner. And we are able to make that stick. On lap 11, we come in for our second scheduled stop. Again, a very uneventful second stint after passing Felipe Nasser. Into the pits, onto a set of primes. I mean, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to use the options again in this race. We were not going to have any more sets left to use. 2 sets in qualifying. We exit the pits behind Roman Grosjean. But behind Carlos Sainz. So it's going to be crucial that we actually make this move quickly. Obviously it's not going to work going into the S's. And we're a bit too wide to be able to do what we did to Maldonado. And this is really hurting our race. Now into Dunlop. See if we can get down the inside going into Degner. We're not quite able to do it yet, and I don't think we're going to be close enough. So, Carlos Sainz is really getting in our way here. We're going to try it down the inside of the hairpin. A little bit of contact, and we think we have made the move. But he has got a fantastic exit off the corner. But he then suddenly goes really slowly, and he's edging us towards the grass. We made contact twice, and then we wheel bang for a third time. But we eventually have the corner, and we are eventually able to take 9th place. But that really did cost us, because as you can see, Valtteri Bottas is ahead of us. But going into turn 1, we are on the inside. And we are going to run it out of road and basically say, this is my position, basically. It's not yours, it's mine. That's the way I was saying it. As you can see, Bottas trying to draw past going to 130R. But then we are able to hang it around the outside. I mean, I know I kind of track extended a treat there, but we still are ahead. As you can see, Valtteri Bottas just completely finishes off the job by breezing past us down the straight. There was no way we could fight that. As you can see ahead, we've lost out further because Felipe Massa is ahead of us. We run a little bit wide, but then get the drive because he seems to be really struggling. But there's a slight bit of contact and we both go off. And we have to go across the gravel. But getting involved in an incident there. For the moment, we are still effectively ahead of our championship rival, Danny Kvyat, which is who we're aiming to, I think is a realistic goal to beat this season. As we head into the pits from what should be our final pit stop, a new set of prime tyres, and Kvyat still has to pit. So, at the moment, I'm thinking it should be easier. At least 6th place would be reasonable for us. That would be a good result because, I mean, it's only 2 points, but we would gain points on our championship rival. But before Kvyat pits, it then starts to rain, unfortunately. And that has really benefited Kvyat, because we all now have to pit for the intermediate tyre, and he is going to be now ahead of us. As you can see, we get onto the intermediate tyre. The Mana Marussia of Roberto Meri rejoining from the pits, obviously getting on to the intermediate tyres in front of us. But not very much happened from there. P7, you can see we've got Will Stevens ahead to lap in the Mana Marussia. And we are going to finish the race in 7th place. Reasonable, but unfortunately behind our championship rival, Danny Kvyat. So he extends the gap to us. I mean, it wasn't like a terrible race for us, like we say had at Spa and Monza, but we have lost 2 points to Danny Kvyat. So, which really is not really what we need, but only 2 points. Still very much in striking distance with 5 races to go. Because we have Sochi, Circuit Americas, Mexico, Brazil and Abu Dhabi. In case anyone's wondering what's happening with the RFAX Crew Mode, just to say before this episode finishes, in case anyone's wondering, that's being delayed because basically I can't actually press the pedals, my brake pedals and accelerate pedals on my wheel, because it's not screwed to anything. So when I do that, it would basically move about a lot. And because of that, I can't apply full pressure to the brakes, and I'm like 5 seconds off the pace of everyone else. But anyway, thank you very much for watching, and we will see you for the Sochi episode next week. Goodbye.